Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku Podcast. How's everybody doing out there? I am Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet Fan here, and I'm so excited to be back tonight, Sunday night, to talk the one and only awesome and amazing epic series that is Attack on Titan. The final season is airing. We are only 4 episodes away before, well, actually 3 episodes after today, before the final season wraps up, or what we assume is the final season wraps up. So we're very excited to start this conversation. Um, very excited to be here. If you love what we do here, the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure that you click on the like button and subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications so you do not miss any of the covers that we do on Attack on Titan, what we're doing for the My Hero Academia manga, what we did for the commentary for Ninja Resurrection, what we're doing for Doron Doron. We have a lot of different content that we do every single week, so make sure you follow us so you don't miss anything on the channel. So, before further ado, let's talk some Attack on Titan. And as you guys know, I'm not here to talk about this by myself. I'm here with the one and only, the amazing Punisher Titan, Isaac Wolf. What's up, man?
Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing?
Pass.
In case they get a hole in one.
Why do you do this to me? I don't understand. Why do you do this to me? Stop.
Because
so
I
bad.
love you, buddy.
No, you don't.
Because I love you. Yeah, I do.
No,
Also,
no, you don't.
Why do you call a fish wearing a bow tie?
I don't know.
Sophisticated. Anyway, let's talk more Attack.
let's do what we're supposed to do. Let's talk some Attack on Titan before I don't know, before this goes more off the rails. So, as you guys know, a new chapter aired today of Attack on Titan, the final season, chapter 84, Night of the End. It was a great, phenomenal episode. A lot of great character moments, so many character moments. I kind of feel bad because if you guys remember from last week's episode, Mike, Isaac, and we talked about Pride, and we talked about the different things that happened, how the show slowed down, and I was very big on talking about my sort of disappointment and lack of connectivity and what we saw in the episode. And one of the biggest points that I complained about was the idea that the big shift from Jean and Mikasa towards joining Levi and Hanji was like out of nowhere. And I like the fact that this episode 100% made up for that, which is great because I was not expecting. It was a very good surprise, especially when we got that moment of them having the conversation of why they should stand up and stop Eren. That whole scene with Hanji and all the other scouts, and the fact that we get to see Erwin, like that was a very powerful moment, and I love the fact that we got it. So not that I was gonna stop watching it because I hate it. I didn't hate last week's episode, but now watching this one, I'm totally fine. I take back what I said about the last episode not being the best because I don't know. Maybe I needed to have memories from the future, just like Eren has, right? I needed to tap in to the Attack Titan and move forward.
So you can survive my bad puns, maybe.
I think those exist outside of time and space, so I don't have a choice there. Now, so Isaac, I got a couple notes here, but before I go in and babble like I do, what did you like about this episode? Did you have a favorite moment? What were your general thoughts?
Maybe it's just me being being a sucker for character studies or characters moments and all that jazz. But this was one of my favorites of the season, actually,
Yeah, I can see why.
because I like the more subtle, serene, just talking about the situation, the characters, just talking it through on why the sides hate each other so much, and trying to figure out where to stand and why they are helping each other out, so to speak.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, in it's one of the most powerful scenes in the entire episode, as far as I will have to say, is when Jean apologized to Gabby.
yeah.
Jean, Jean at the beginning of the series, he wouldn't apologize to Gabby. He wouldn't just. He wouldn't have bothered speaking with her again.
Mm-hmm.
So, which so which causes which makes this episode, or should I say, this action. It pretty much shows a character development for him, so to speak. And I have to say, it. I know this was in the manga also, but the fact that I know that it kind of makes sense, but the whole Anne and Mikasa going at each other like that, it was just. Ugh. Sure, we had Jean punching the crap out of Reiner, but that made some much more sense in my book, honestly.
Did you really feel that way with the Annie and Mikasa moment?
It's just. I know why. I know why they happen. Uh, because they have two different viewpoints on Eren and all that. Because obviously she still sort of love him, Mikasa, but it just. I don't know. It's. They, I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I don't know why, but it just felt. It felt less understandable of her downright threatening of going female Titan than genius bashing the. How should I put it? It. Okay, it makes I take it all back. It made the sense why they would bicker with each other and all when it comes to the it all. It just it didn't feel as impactful as the whole Gene Reiner conversation.
True.
Honestly,
I can give you that.
maybe
I can
that's
give you that.
maybe that's my issue with the whole thing.
Yeah, because the whole thing with Gene went to fists. Like it became physical as opposed to just being the threat of being physical. But also, um, and here's the magic of Attack on Titan, which when it comes to the serious moments like this. Now,
And the fact
what
that
this
Reiner just lie down there and he just understood why he was pissed, so he just didn't bother with it.
well that is part of it because that has to do with the whole Reiner wallowing in self pity to a degree, but also understanding how horrible his actions were, right?
Yeah,
Um, but this episode, if we were to call this anything, this is the Avengers episode. Like it's them coming together. This is the Avengers assembled, and but not only that, in terms of them going into battle, it's the important thing that happened here, which I believe this is why this episode is so strong in character development at moments, is that this episode was all about okay, we know how we feel about each other, but we got to put that shit aside. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we need to get this done. Like we know that you killed Gabby. We know you killed Sasha. Reiner, we know what you did. Like the whole thing with Marco is another topic that I want to talk about too. But we know that Mikasa might be our weakest link, even though she's our strongest fighter. She might be our weakest link because what if she turns us up because she loves Eren, right? Which is why for me that interaction was perfect because think about it. From everybody there, the only person fit to stand against Annie is Mikasa. Not even Reiner. You know what I mean? Like they are even playing field. Like they are toe to toe. Like they go toe to toe. Like that's like Mikasa's Levi to Annie's Zeke. You know what I mean? Like there, you can see that happening to a degree, which is why the threat of battle makes sense. But also Annie is challenging Mikasa once more because it's Annie in the same vein of we need to get this done. She's asking Mikasa like, "Hey, are you willing to put that aside?" Because that's the one thing that Mikasa has to put aside. She has to be if she wants to get this done and really work together with everybody. She has to make a decision whether or not she can put her love for Eren aside. Because just like Jean has to put his dream of having a family aside, just like Hanji has to put aside the idea of starting a Titans or whatever. Like everybody has to put Connie has to put aside saving his mother. Armin has to push aside the self-hatred that he feels because he survived. You know, he has that survivor's guilt, right? Because that's practically Armin's thing right now. Like everybody's putting something aside so that we can get this done. And I like that was explored with every character, you know, and even Magath is putting all that out there. Like he still believes they're demons or whatever, but at the same time, he's trying to understand why they're still working together. So he also has to put his ideologies aside to make this work. Because if they don't put their own selves aside, the team doesn't work. Which is why I like what Hanji says when they're all around the fire, that it's literally like a G9 summit where if we're gonna figure this out
G9?
without or like G7, you know, like the whole like the continents and everybody, like all the different big powers of the world coming together.
Ah, okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
Because what they're saying is like Hanji literally saying that the reason we want to kill each other and the reason we always go to violence is because we don't talk to understand each other. You know, like they actually bring that to the fold, which makes you think that the 2,000 years of violence of Eldia against Marley, Marley against Eldia, it's all because nobody has sat down to look for understanding, to look we can move past hatred and all that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and it's a very powerful statement because it's true. It happens. It's happening right now. You know, it's like the power of conversation and understanding can go so far. And a lot of war starts because a lot of tragedies have been spawned out of misunderstanding. You know, and it's like the fact that they're having these conversations, that they're bringing this to the fold and going like, hey, if we keep bickering and being against each other, we're not going to get this done and Eren's going to win. And I like the idea that we finally have another side of the ideology is like genocide is wrong, period. So we can't allow Eren to do this. Which also makes me think like Eren knows that what he's doing is wrong, but at the same time, I would assume he knows that it's wrong, but he's consumed. But at the same time, he also doesn't see another option. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which makes me think like you got to think he is this kid with all this power, and he doesn't see any other option. Why? Because nobody talks to each other. because nobody wants to listen, because everybody wants to stick to their beliefs and are not willing to negotiate, you know? And I don't know. I like this episode because of the conversations that are being had. And like for example, that moment that you said that that John forgave Gabby, right?
Gene, yeah.
Yeah, Gene forgave Gabby. That's a very powerful moment. Why? Because he's choosing to put hatred aside. And,
Although he
and
didn't forgive Reiner,
but he
that's
doesn't but he's not allowing hatred to consume him though.
yeah,
So like it's the kind of thing like Jim Carrey said in like a meme or whatever. He said like just because you forgave someone doesn't mean that they can sit at your table. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So Gene is not making the same mistake that everybody has made for centuries. Like he's not letting his life being ruled by hatred and fear and violence. He doesn't forgive Reiner. So after this, they're done. But he understands that he has a role to play and that they need each other because they need to get this done. You know, and I like the dynamics. I like all that because Reiner kind of understands. I get it. I don't deserve it, but we're gonna get this done together. So till the end of the day, you and I are watching each other's back. I got your back because we need to get this done. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like all those things are just powerful, and I agree with you. It could be up. It's up there with one of the best episodes of the season. I would say of the series because it kind of brings all the arguments that spawn everything to a head. You know, before we jump into the action of going against the Jaegerists and trying to stop the founding Titan, right? Um, yeah, it's awesome. You got any
I mean,
comments on that?
it's it's maybe I dare argue that this episode made the last week's episode so much better.
Yes,
Honestly,
yes, 100%.
it
It eliminates that feel that last week's episode came out of nowhere.
yeah, and but which makes me wonder if they would should have set that up as a two-parter instead.
Yeah, yeah. Like I got a feeling that this is one of those. This is one of those series that when you actually sit down and binge it, it's going to be a different experience.
Yeah,
Especially this last chunk. I feel that when we sit down and just watch them through, it's going to be something. It's going to feel different. It's going to be particular, and I really want to do that once it comes to a close. I'm probably going to do that at some point. Um, but I actually gotta read the whole manga too because I want to do that. um, now, I think one of the biggest moments here, and it leads to what you said with Gene and Reiner, is the revelation about Marco. Like the fact that they bring that back, the fact that this is a topic of conversation that we all forgot about. Like nobody remembered Marco, you know? And
Mark is a character that kind of went in and out, sort of like that. Honestly,
yeah. But I like the fact that when you see all the scouts with Hanj, you see Marco. And like
yeah,
John remember and Gene remembers Marco. And we did remember that he did die. Like Marco died. Like we find him like I think he's the one that we find half eaten at the Battle of Shiganshima,
yeah,
right? And the fact that we never found out, we know that tore Gene apart. Um, and the whole thing, the fact that he knew who they were. He was a victim of circumstance because he found out what he wasn't supposed to find out. And he got killed for it. And the fact that it's like without that, Gene wasn't going to be able to move on. Like he needed that. He needed that moment. He needed that burst of rage of understanding what really happened, and how far and horrible Annie and Bertold and Reiner's betrayal goes. And I think it's because that truth came to light that he's able to fight beside Reiner now. So I kind of like how that moment, that kind of what you could consider a random moment, kind of was the element that brought everything together. It was the Yu-Gi-Oh polymerization card for the Attack on Titan Avengers. I know that was bad, wasn't it? That was bad.
It's always bad when you try to make some reference.
I'm trying. But yeah, man. I mean, I think we've talked pretty much the more important parts of the episode. I mean, do you have anything else you want to throw in there?
I wonder how they are going to wrap this thing up without going into spoilers.
I mean, we got 3 more episodes, and that's it. That's not a lot. Oh, bro, dude, that is so bad. That is so bad. Yo, stop. Oh my god.
What?
That is, bro, that is at the same level as the Full Metal Alchemist Chimera joke. You gotta stop. What does it say?
No matter who you are, you would never be half the soldier Marco was.
Okay, we're not gonna do this right now. That's the kind of stuff that gets people shot. Okay, so
Yeah.
that is so bad.
This is getting dark.
Yes.
This is getting so.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot story to cover. We only have 3 episodes. But I'm excited. I mean, they're taking their precious time with everything. So at this point, I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if that supposed rumor of a new movie or a part 3 is going to be is true after all. Which,
you know,
if it's just a movie, if it's a movie that they put in theaters and all that, yeah, and not just a release the home video, honestly, I will be pissed because for obvious reasons.
And that would be very unfair, I think, to the fandom. If anything, if they're gonna do a movie thing, it needs to be something that will premiere like any other episode. It has to be. Like that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Now, it's funny because now that you mention it, they never said that part 2 will be the end. Yeah. They never said that. So it would make sense that they would have a part 3, that they would take a break for maybe a month or 2 and do part 3, and that would be like the last chunk of episodes. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. I just don't want to wait another year though. I hope it's not something like that. You know what I mean? Like between part 1 and part 2 of the final season, we have to wait a year. Like I have never seen.
I doubt it's a year in between, but I could see like 4 to 6 months if it's a part 3, and I'd rather have a part 3 than a movie.
Agreed. Agreed. But yeah, I was just thinking about that. They never really did say that everything will end with part 2. Like they never said that. I mean, they're saying that part 2 is going to end with XYZ, but they never said that there's not going to be a part 3. So, but then again, we know that Hajime Isayama, the creator, is very heavily involved in the anime. So I don't think he's going to let anybody rush through this, especially now. You know?
No.
So hopefully it all plays out the way he wants, and the way he wants actually makes us very, very happy. So
but they have to Yeah. But before we close this off, I need to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
Are you all right with that?
Go ahead.
And where do fruits go on vacation?
Oh my God. Where, Isaac?
Pear-ish. And have you heard about the chocolate record player?
No.
It sounds pretty sweet.
Okay. What
And
else?
my last question for you, if is, and I can't believe I uh, ask you this: where do boats go when they are sick?
Where do boats go when they're sick?
Yeah,
I don't know.
to the boat dock.
Okay, so that was this tonight's episode of the Amateur Otaku Podcast. I have no idea why I allowed myself to sit through all those puns and bad jokes. And not only that, made you listen to all that. But thank you guys for joining us at the Amateur Otaku Podcast. It's been a blast talking Attack on Titan, the final season. We will see you next week with more coverage. And make sure you subscribe and click on the like button and click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our coverage of Attack on Titan and you don't miss any episodes of all the other coverages that we do. My Hero Academia, Doran Doran, Ninja Resurrection, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We do a bunch of things every single week just for your
He
enjoyment.
loved Ninja Resurrection.
And for our
Just so
enjoyment.
you guys knows.
And shut up, Isaac. But tell us, please tell us, Isaac, where can we find you?
Well, you can find my work over at Wobum Entertainment, and you can find me at Emblemaniac, and you can find our good friend Mike Thomas on Novice Cinephile, where he posts his reviews. He put links on his reviews and discussions that he does. He recently did a review of The Batman, that spoiler free and a spoiler one for those that are interested. And you can also find our good friend Leo Rydell on Geekly Good. Leo Rydell GG, and his YouTube channel, The Geekly Goods. And well, you can find our pod Twitters over at the Amateur Taco Pod.
And you can find me on Twitter at the ScarletFan52, on Instagram at the ScarletFan52, and on TikTok at the ScarletFan52. Have it awesome, guys. Peace.
Peace.